Welcome back to another episode of the Tan and J Man Show. Here it is October, but it does not feel like it. We are setting record high heat so far this week. Supposed to do it again tomorrow, maybe even Wednesday. But then by the end of the week, it will feel like football weather, as it's only supposed to be in the 50s here. So I am looking forward to that. How you doing tonight, there, Tan the Man?
Doing better than I was last Monday, J-Man. As a sports fan, when you like multiple teams, it kind of can be a roller coaster of emotions weekend to weekend. And darn near had a perfect sports weekend for myself. If it wasn't for Duke failing to defend a 4th and 10, and if it wasn't for the Europeans whooping on the Americans in the Ryder Cup, would have been a perfect sports weekend. But still, even with how it turned out, I'll take it compared to the previous few weekends.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a lot better for you over the weekend. It prevented embarrassment on Sunday, to be honest. I don't know if it does a whole lot for them going forward, but at least you don't have to live in Bear. Well, is it Bears country there?
Fort Wayne's probably more Colts. Yeah.
So.
And there's some Browns in Fort Wayne, too.
I bet there's some Lions fans there, too.
Yeah. It's kind of a mix. It's kind of a weird market. But yeah, I know enough Bear friends, which some of them were reaching out to me during the game, and I kept my mouth shut, even when the Broncos were down 28-7, just in case. And glad I did because I got the last laugh. But we'll get more into that later on. I did bring a birdie or bogey question for you.
All right.
You are up 4 strokes on me. Commanding lead. I've got to find it here. There we go. All right. Hopefully you didn't see this, but you might have. CJ Stroud, Texans rookie quarterback. He has passed for 1,212 yards this season so far, which is second most passing yards by a player through his first 4 NFL games. Who is in front of him for that record?
Second most passing yards ever through 4 games to start a career.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good question. I did not see it, so maybe I can pull something out of my hat here. But Birdie Bogey brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere located at 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. $2 whole smoked wings every Monday and $1 off domestic brewskis. Over the weekend, they had Ivory Moss, who performed on Saturday from 5:30 to 8:30. So I think they have her there
quite often.
Yeah, quite often. Maybe once a month, maybe. I don't know. But they also have some fantastic food. Per usual, they're also advertising their Winter Golf Simulator League, which you can play on Mondays from 5 to 7 or 7 to 9. Pick your night. Or actually, all week, it looks like. Mm-hmm. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 5 to 7 or 7 to 9. You just got to pick your time slot. Open to the first 32 teams to get signed up. The cost for the season is $300 per person, includes 10 league rounds and 2 additional simulator hours. There's also a 2-season thing where it's $575 per person, which includes 20 league rounds and 5 additional simulator hours. So I'm sure Arlington Public House is pretty packed for that over the winter months.
Yeah, and if you're a golfer, there's nothing to do in the winter. You can't, and you don't want to. Especially if you've had a good season, you don't want your game to get rusty. Now, I know simulator is different than playing outside, but still, you can still get your swings in, and it's still better than not hitting a ball at all or not playing. And you can have a good time, have some drinks and some great food, and kick back with their friends and do something once or twice a week. So take advantage of that, hit Bryce up, and sign up for the Caddyshack Winter League.
Get your veggies.
And you can get if you want to snack on some veggies, more power to you. More power to you. But J-Man, let's start this pod once again with some baseball talk. Your Cubs couldn't quite hang on as they did not make the postseason this year.
Yeah, finished the game. Was that a game? It was, a game behind a game and a half. Well, a game. It was a singular game. Behind the Arizona Diamondbacks for that final spot. It took quite the collapse to do it, really. They had 92% playoff odds back just 3 weeks ago, and now it's at 0% as the season ended with them not being in it. Over their final 17 games, they went 5-12. It was just a whole culmination of things. Their offense went cold there for a little bit of it. When the offense picked back up, their starting rotation was bad for a few games. Then their pitching was pretty good. Bullpen comes in and blows games. They had a stretch where I believe they played 7 games and they had a lead entering into the 8th inning, 5 of those games, and they lost all 5, which is the first team to ever do it. Part of that reason being David Ross kind of rode his bullpen so hard from from really June 1st or June 31st or June 30th. There's not 31 days. From June 1st, here we go. I found the actual stat. June 1st to August 31st. It saved the Cubs season, but indirectly kind of ended the Cubs season. Adbert Alzolay, their closer, in that stretch through 31 and a third innings with a 2.70 ERA. Mark Leiter Jr. 34 and a third innings, 2.88 ERA. Michael Fulmer in that stretch, 34 and a third innings, 2.62 ERA. Julian Merriweather, 37 and 2/3 innings in that stretch, 2.63 ERA. They were lights out. They were pitching almost every single day, it felt like. And then you kind of fast forward to September 1st, and due to wear and tear, you have Adbert Alzolay only threw 3 1/3 innings in September with a 4.91 ERA, spent a majority of the month on the injured list. Michael Fulmer threw 2/3 of an inning in September, spent a majority on the injured list. Julian Merriweather had a 3.75 ERA, which is okay, but he completely lost his command with a 7.5 per 9 walk rate. Mark Leiter Jr., who was one of their most consistent relievers all year, getting lefties out, he only threw 7 1/3 innings in September, 8.59 ERA. So instead of kind of mixing and matching more, and I know you're going all out to try to turn the season around, which they did, and unfortunately ended up costing them in that. I mean, that is kind of an indictment on Jed Hoyer at the trade deadline. I understand his strategy at the deadline. We're in it, but we're still a decent ways out. We're going to trade for a bat and then pick up a middling reliever in Jose Cuas instead of going out there and getting actual good relievers at the deadline. It ended up costing them. Jose Cuas threw, I think, 50 half of the games that he was on the team, he pitched in half of those. I think it was like 27 appearances in 54 games, and he wasn't very good to begin with, so they had to rely on him for high leverage. So that was my issue with David Ross in managing on the margins, winning games on the margins. Guys like Craig Counsell did that a bunch. You look at the teams that made it there, Miami Marlins, their run differential was minus 40 something or 50 something. The Cubs run differential plus 90 something. They had the third best run differential in Major League Baseball. So I never want to hear the run differential bull crap again. It's getting so annoying. Well, actually, they're pretty good. Well, they didn't make the playoffs. That is a direct indictment on David Ross, in my opinion. He gave Eric Hosmer so many at-bats in April, and they had Chris Morel down in AAA. Morel comes up after that and hits 26 homers. It took Jed Hoyer releasing Trey Mancini completely off of his 2-year deal to get David Ross to just stop playing him. And then, as I said, with the bullpen, that they just kind of ran out of gas. Dansby Swanson had an injury right before the All-Star break. Comes back after that injury. He sat just 5 innings the rest of the year. He had a 5-inning break from the time he came back from the injured list. And it showed. He completely worn down. From August 1st on, he hit 212. He was a little better in September. He hit 230, still not great, but it kind of affected his defense, which is he's one of the elite, if not the best defensive shortstop in baseball. And he had countless errors, just careless errors toward down the stretch in that 17-game stretch. And it really hurt the team. I kind of piled on Ian Happ a little bit. You look at his numbers. He had a fine year. He walked 99 times. He was 16% above league average hitter. He struggled for a lot of time during July. And, you look at Seiya Suzuki, who David Ross sat for 3 or 4 games, just kind of get his mind right. After that, from August 1st on, Seiya Suzuki led Major League Baseball in OPS. So it worked for him. But for some reason, he didn't do that with Happ at all, and he let Happ in there. And Happ was pretty good towards the end of the season. But his usage in that lineup was terrible. He hit third pretty much every single game. There was like a 2 or 3 game stretch where David Ross actually led him off against right-handed pitching. And after that, he just put him back at the third spot, and which meant your best hitter, Cody Bellinger, didn't even get a hit in the first inning. And there were countless times this year where it was a close game late, 9th inning, 1 or 2 run deficit, and Ian Happ's the guy who makes the last out, and Cody Bellinger's in the on-deck circle. So that's the kind of stuff that adds up. And unfortunately, it sounds like David Ross is going to be back. Tom Ricketts pretty much confirmed it yesterday. I wish Hoyer would walk in there and say no if you actually want to win, which supposedly Tom Ricketts does. But some of his comments kind of made me think, are they really going to not do a whole lot this offseason again? He did say in the booth yesterday, he said, now we can't go giving out consolation prizes here and saying it's a good season when we didn't make the playoffs. So hopefully that means he's going to actually open up the checkbook again. But I feel like that's just going to be they're going to kind of hold serve and do kind of what they did last year to appease a portion of the fan base, and they'll be solid but not spectacular. They just miss star power so much. They just don't have it anymore. They have good players, but they need that star. They need to go get a Shohei Ohtani, which is not going to happen, or trade for a Juan Soto. Unfortunately, I could see it coming last week. I mean, you had the bad if they would have just won 2 of those games they're in, and they blew 2 late leads. They were up 6-0 against the Atlanta Braves. Braves chipped away. Seiya Suzuki loses a ball on the lights, 2-run score. Cubs lose in the 8th inning. The next night, up 1 in the 9th inning, Mark Leiter, instead of going to a guy like Luke Little, who came up through 6 innings, a rookie, struck out about everyone, didn't allow a single earned run. They went to Mark Leiter, who clearly had nothing since about the middle of August, and he gives up a homer to Marcell Ozuna to tie it, and they lose. So that's another indictment on David Ross. If they just win those 2, they're in. Or if they don't give those at bats to Trey Mancini and Eric Hosmer in April and into May, they don't get swept in Miami. The games in May and April count just the same as they do in September, and it caught up to the Cubs this year. And hopefully it's a wake-up call for them. But if assuming Ross is back, I think he will be maybe on the hottest seat in baseball. Aaron Boone is likely to return, which is kind of a shock. So I think those 2 will be on the 2 hottest seats in baseball heading into the year. But playoffs start tomorrow. We have the Brewers against the Arizona Diamondbacks in Milwaukee for 3. The Marlins against the Philadelphia Phillies for 3. And then in the American League, I'd have to look up the schedule for the American League.
Tampa and Texas, isn't it?
Is it Tampa and Texas?
And then Minnesota and
Toronto.
Yep.
Minnesota has not won a postseason game since like 2005 or something like that. 2004. They've been in it quite a bit, and they haven't even won a game. I think this will be the year they actually win it. But who do you have in those series?
Well, my predictions for the MLB season was Padres over Twins.
Huh.
So for the most, I got to stick with the Twins. Twins beating the Blue Jays at least. And then I think Tampa will beat Toronto, or will beat Texas. And then National League, I'll take Milwaukee over Arizona, and I'll take Philadelphia over Florida.
Yeah, Milwaukee announced today that their number 2 starter, Brandon Woodruff, might be out for the entire playoffs. They still have 2 really good pitchers, 3 really good pitchers there. So, I think Milwaukee ends up beating Arizona. But again, a 3-game series is such a crapshoot there. But then, give me the Phillies as well. Marlins will be without Sandy Alcantara, so I just don't think they're that good of a ball club.
I should have said Miami, not Florida. That was my bad.
That's okay. Give me Texas over Tampa Bay. Texas has one of the worst bullpens in Major League history. They saved like less than 50% of their ball games this year. But that offense is good. They are without DeGrom and Scherzer, so it'll be kind of interesting unless Scherzer's back. But I think Texas in the upset, and then give me Toronto over Minnesota. Pretty evenly matched teams there. with Minnesota 12 games over and Toronto 16 games over 500. But other than that, we can talk. I give me the Braves in the National League, regardless.
Yeah.
I think the American League's pretty wide open. Don't be surprised if Houston's back. Unfortunately, I have a gut feeling it's going to happen.
I don't think the Orioles will do it.
I don't either. I don't think they have the pitching to do it.
And I think they gotta learn. I mean, they just won the AL East, so this might be kind of stupid. But they gotta learn how to win first.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
In that sort of environment, playoffs, there's pressure on you now. Maybe they're so young that the pressure doesn't matter. Kind of like which Brandon Hyde learned from Joe Madden, I guess. I mean, he was on the Cubs coaching staff in 2016 and 2015, so he was kind of the perfect manager for the Orioles this year with all those young guys coming up. Then maybe he can take what he learned there and make that lack of experience not matter as much. But I think that's about all I got baseball wise. Got anything else?
No, it'll be interesting to watch postseason. Postseason is where it gets really exciting. So
yeah. I do have one stat here. Dating back to 2014, the Seattle Mariners have been eliminated on one of Game 161 or Game 162 a whopping 4 times.
Wow.
2014. So they only 8 teams have experienced it at all, and only one other team has done it twice since then. So they have some heartbreaking losses, and they choked down the stretch, kind of like the Cubs did. So makes me feel a little better. Nah, it really doesn't make me feel a little better.
I can see it and hear it. You're hurting a little bit about the Cubs.
Honestly, after Wednesday's game, I just like whatever. But I was just hopeful they'd get in. They weren't going to win anything once they got in, but it's nice to just kind of say they got in. But it might be for the best. Who knows? I'd rather not get in than lose to Milwaukee and see them celebrate. So it's a silver lining anyway.
And at least the Cardinals finished dead last in the division.
That was my favorite Cardinals season ever. So yeah, they finished dead last. That was fun. The off season's about here. The real season's about to start. So
the Cincinnati Reds fans are saying again this year. So
again, I mean, they should be pretty thrilled with how the season went.
They should. They should.
Yeah, I mean, people were projecting them to finish 4th or 5th and win maybe 70, 75 games, and they outplayed that, and they had a lot of young talent come up along the way. So I'm sure they're pretty excited heading into the offseason.
Yeah,
I am not exactly looking forward to the offseason. See how the Cubs disappoint me once again.
Well, you want to get educated tonight.
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about some sporting events that have happened on this day on October 2nd. Let's see here. A lot of old baseball stuff. Let's see if we got anything. Here's an interesting one. Last name 1938, future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Feller struck out a record 18 Detroit Tigers, but his Cleveland Indians still lost 4-1.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Not much else I don't think old Bobby could do there. Let's say 1947, Yogi Berra hit the first ever pinch hit home run in World Series history. But the Yankees lost 9-8 to the Brooklyn Dodgers in Game 3 of that World Series. Let's see here. Who won the World Series on this day, 1954?
54 was that the San Francisco Giants or the
New York Giants?
I mean,
they beat the Cleveland Indians 7-4 to sweep them. MVP was Dusty Rhodes. Hey, not the wrestler, not the old wrestler, but the Giants outfielder, Dusty Rhodes, not the American Dream. That's funny. Man, a lot of World Series stuff from back in the day here. Trying to get into some normal. On this day, 1974, future Baseball Hall of Fame right fielder Hank Aaron hit his final home run as a member of the Atlanta Braves in a 13-0 win over the Cincinnati Reds. It was his 733rd career home run on his last National League at bat.
Yeah, pretty good.
Let's see here. On this day, 1980, 38-year-old Muhammad Ali came out of a 2-year retirement and challenged undefeated world heavyweight champion Larry Holmes at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Muhammad Ali pounded him for 10 rounds before the corner threw in the towel. So it didn't even KO him, just the corner's like, that's enough. He done.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. On this day, 1983, the Packers scored 49 points in the first half, 35 points of those in the second quarter against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, being 55-14.
Man, the Bucs were bad back in the day.
They were not good. They were not good at all. On this day, 1984, due to a strike by MLB umpires, the first 4 NLCS games were played with replacement umpires.
Well, I bet that went well.
Game 1, the Cubs beat the Padres 13-0.
Yeah, then Leon Durham happened. He was Bill Buckner before Bill Buckner. People don't remember that as much, though.
On this day, 1986, New York Mets Dwight Gooden became the first pitcher to collect 200 strikeouts in each of his first 3 seasons. It was pretty good. Mike Tyson in the news. 1988 for something negative. Every time, man.
Yeah. I was looking for him last week. I didn't see him on there. It was the first.
On this day, 1991, NHL's number 1 draft pick, Eric Lindros, rejected the Quebec Nordiques' offer of a 10-year, $50 million contract.
Man.
That's a lot of money in 1991. Yeah. A lot of money still, but especially 1991 for a hockey player. Here's one you'll like. On this day, 1994, legendary Miami head coach Don Shula beats Cincinnati head coach and his son David in the first ever NFL meeting between father and son. Dolphins defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 23-7. All right, we'll close out with a few more here. On this day, 1999, the University of Alabama beat Florida 40-39 in overtime to snap the Gators' 30-game home win streak.
Man.
Future Seattle Seahawks running back Sean Alexander had 4 touchdowns for the Crimson Tide.
He's one of the more underrated backs. I mean, he was thought of as the best back, but it was like a pretty short stretch, and then his career just kind of ended.
On this day in 2001, Sammy Sosa became the first player in MLB history to total 60 home runs in 3 seasons.
They need to invite him back.
On the day in 2004, there's a lot of them on. I said where I was done. There's a lot of them on this. The Montreal Expos earned their last win in franchise history, beating the Mets 6-3 at Shea Stadium.
Miguel Cabrera's career ended yesterday, and he was the last player ever to face the Montreal Expos.
Yep. On this day in 2005, the NFL played its first regular season game outside the United States when the Cardinals beat the 49ers 31-14 in Mexico City, Mexico. Now they have 5 international games. Okay. We had one in London last week with a Toy Story version. That was kind of hilarious to watch.
That's kind of funny.
And then there's one in London again this week with the Jaguars playing again.
Jags might as well just move there.
They might as well. And on this day in 2016, the Ryder Cup happened at Hazeltine National Golf Course. The U.S. regained the cup, beating Europe 17-11. America's Brooks Koepka, Brent Snedeker, and Patrick Reed each won 3 matches. Wasn't a successful weekend for the Americans this time around in Europe. Haven't won on European soil since 1993. So now they got to wait till 2027 to get another crack at it. So I don't know why they just can't do it over there. So hopefully
so much better at the President's Cup than they are.
Europeans just got a stronger squad than all the rest of the world combined.
Oh,
outside the United States.
That makes sense.
I mean, this what was disappointing about this one. Even though the U.S. fought and hung in there for a while Sunday, but they were so bad early on Friday, they almost took themselves out of it right away. And the U.S. team had so much more star power compared to the Europeans. The Europeans had some kind of no-name guys. I mean, they had one guy on their team just graduated from Texas Tech 4 months ago and was playing in the Ryder Cup before he's even played in a major as a professional.
Wow.
So he's playing on a huge stage, and he was lights out. I don't know, it's just his culture. Something. I don't know if they take it more serious because I feel like our guys take it real serious. I mean, Zach Johnson was in tears yesterday after the loss speaking about the team, but he did have some questionable decisions here and there of when he sent guys out and when he didn't. There's a lot more strategy involved with captains than non-golf fans realize. So we'll see if the America can get it back in 2025 when it comes to Bethpage Black in New York. That'll be a rowdy crowd for sure. So. But that is the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, and I better put up I forgot to put up the banner this whole time, Moody Woodcrafts. Moody Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grass roots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them on Instagram or Facebook at Mooney Woodcrafts is their handle on those. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your order. So get your sign orders in. It's already October. It's not too early to start thinking about Christmas gifts. So it would be the perfect Christmas gift for the sports fan in your family or the sports friend in your life.
You want to do word association here real quick before we get into some football?
Yes, I do.
I saw a thing about pros versus Joes the other day, so I was thinking, what athletes were on pros?
I missed that show.
Me too. That was fun. So I have about 14 athletes here that appeared on that one. So starting with Jim McMahon.
Most famous Bear quarterback of all time.
He was terrible.
Wasn't the best quarterback, but he fit that team perfectly. His persona, his attitude, that's what that team needed. Headband, sunglasses.
Yeah. Dennis Rodman.
The Worm. Still character today. Still crazy today, but man, could he rebound the ball.
Yeah. Matt Williams.
Oh, man, the old Giant and Diamondback?
Yeah.
Wasn't he a league MVP one time?
I don't think so, but he was.
Maybe he was an All-Star game MVP? Something.
He might have been.
Some sort of MVP, but yeah, good. I say underrated player.
Yeah, he was good. Jerry Rice.
Best wide receiver in NFL history.
Muggsy Bogues.
Makes short guys proud everywhere. Man, I mean, to be that short, you have to be so good at basketball to be a professional basketball player. And he played for many, many years, too. And he was in Space Jam.
Jenny Finch.
In my opinion, most popular professional women's softball player of all time.
Gotta be honest, the only one I can name.
What was it? She played for Chicago. What was that? The Bandits? Chicago Bandits? Was that the softball team name she played for?
Oh, yeah.
Windy City Bandits or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Romanowski.
Oh, lunatic.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he was a part of 2 Super Bowl winning teams of the Broncos, then 1 Super Bowl losing team on the Raiders. But roid rage, man. He's a nut.
Misty May.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know Misty May? You don't remember Misty May and Carrie Walsh, like the best beach volleyball duo of all time? They all.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure I've seen her before.
You would probably know, but
I'm learning something.
Disappointed in you, Tanner. Morton Anderson.
Who? Morton Anderson? You said one of the best kickers of all time. Did he wear the one bar like Gary did, or was that just Gary that won the one bar? Morton was good for many, many years.
John Rocker.
Racist.
he was a character.
Yeah, I'll never forget when he made those racist comments. Then he came out of the pen. I believe it was in the playoffs for the Braves against the Mets, and the whole city of New York City was booing him so bad.
Yeah, not many people like John Rocker to begin
No.
with. Herschel Walker.
Great running back for the Raiders and for the University of Georgia. I used to get him confused with Bo Jackson when I was a kid.
Yeah, about the same time. Bo Jackson did do pros versus Joes, but it seems like we've had him on this list.
Yeah, and one of the best athletes of all time, Royal and the Raider and a few other teams.
Dominique Wilkins.
One of the best dunkers of all time. One of the best Atlanta Hawks of all time. Yep.
Bill Goldberg.
Oh, good old Billy Boy. Famous WCW/WWE wrestler. can't wrestle a match past 3 minutes because that's just Bill Goldberg's type. If it's past 3 minutes, he's blown up and winded. But he gets crapped on a lot of times by pro wrestling fans. But I always liked Goldberg as a kid.
Clyde Drexler.
Glad to glide. One of the best Portland Trailblazers of all time. Never won a ring, but played on a couple Team USA teams. One of the good ones.
That will do it.
I like that list. Good find. Good find. And that is the Word Associate segment, which is brought to you by Performa Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Performa Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. All right, which type of pigskin do you want to start with? Do you want it collegiate or professional?
Let's do the collegiate ranks.
All right.
Start things off.
All right. What were some of your takeaways before we get into the Big Ten around the country this weekend and in Week 5?
Notre Dame pulled one out of a hat.
They escaped.
Yeah, Sam Hartman with a long was about 20-yard run on
fourth and 10.
It was fourth down. Okay,
it was fourth down. Yep.
I was thinking it was like 3rd and 18 or something like that.
Nope.
And then they end up winning the ball game. Duke hadn't scored. We got home and I think Duke was down 13-0.
It was 13-0, and they scored 14 unanswered.
And then to take the lead, and then of course, But
Notre Dame's got some stuff to clean up.
Yeah.
And they are in a tough part of their schedule. They go to an undefeated ranked Louisville team this weekend to play under the lights.
How's that feel?
Second time I'm rooting for Jeff Brom in Louisville this year. It's still weird. It's still weird to see him and his staff, for the most part, wearing red, but watching Jack Plummer sling it. But Jack Plummer's the same Jack Plummer he's always been. But Louisville can put up points. They got some athletes. They can put up points quick. That place could be rocking. And if Notre Dame does get by them, which I'll say my prediction for that game in a little bit. Then they have USC coming to town next weekend, which USC's got to let Notre Dame put up some points, but USC can put up points on anybody.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame's really in a tough spot. So that was a very important victory they came out of Durham with, because if not, they could be looking at 4 losses in a row.
They have to run the table to make the playoff, in my opinion.
I just don't think they – I mean, they can do it, but I just don't think they will.
I don't think they'll lose this week, but I don't think they beat USC. That place will be rocking. USC, however, they're up 42 or 40-14 and let Colorado come all the way back.
Yeah.
Almost. They ended up winning. But, that defense isn't very good, but, man, that offense. Caleb Williams is as close to Patrick Mahomes as we have seen in the college ranks. He reminds me a lot of Patrick Mahomes, especially with his ability to extend plays and just throw absolute missiles all over the place. So, Notre Dame absolutely needed that Duke one to give themselves any sort of hope going forward.
Ex-Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly, tough start to season down in Baton Rouge for him.
Yeah, their defense is pretty bad too. Ole Miss can put up points, but, man, they gave a 52, 55.
That game was in the 40s to start the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You don't see that in SEC too often.
Yeah, LSU came in with playoff aspirations, and they have 2 losses already, so I would take them completely out of it.
Yep. They're out of it for their division too, I think.
Yeah. Georgia still hasn't played anyone.
They squeaked by Auburn by a touchdown.
They haven't looked that great either.
No.
They'll get tested, and they'll lose a game.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama won over the weekend. Saban was still yelling at his players when they were up like 21 late, which is typical Saban. Honestly, I didn't really follow a whole lot.
Florida got smacked at Kentucky. Kentucky's undefeated. I think they're in the rankings now.
Smacked by Kentucky.
Utah went up to Corvallis and lost to Oregon State Friday night.
Utah's still without their starting quarterback, which is
USC and Oregon, the teams to beat out there. But the Pac-12 is a good football conference. I'm sure TV networks are kicking themselves that they didn't offer them a little more money to try to keep that conference intact. What else happened around the country? I'm trying to think if there's any upsets.
Michigan smacked Nebraska.
Oh, killed them.
Minnesota kind of squeaked by Louisiana.
Yeah, Minnesota's not what everybody thought they were going to be this year.
The West is garbage.
The West is bad. I mean, we say it every year, but this might be the worst.
It's the worst.
It's been.
Yeah.
Which, everybody's like, thank God Big Ten's not going to have divisions. I wouldn't say that just yet, because there's going to be 18 teams. They're going to have to do something. So, but, man, those 4 teams they're adding are all pretty solid. Washington's another one to throw it in the Pac-12. I forgot about them when we were talking about USC and Oregon. Washington's really good. And UCLA holds their own, too. But, yeah, inside the Big Ten, like you said, Michigan smacked Nebraska. I can't figure Nebraska out.
They're bad.
Penn State was off to a sluggish start against Northwestern, but then cranked it up in the second half. Maryland put it on Indiana, but Maryland can score so fast.
Indiana fired their offensive coordinator. They have a lot more problems than just their offensive coordinator. That entire coaching staff probably needs to be gone. Rod Carey is now their interim OC. He was a bad head coach at Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Don't know what that's going to fix. Probably nothing. But
I don't see them getting too many more wins on their schedule.
No, I agree.
Purdue and Illinois played for the Purdue Cannon. It was close for a half, and then Purdue played their best half of the season, best quarter of the season in the third quarter.
Well, yeah, third quarter was a
21-0. But Illinois helped them out a little bit. He dropped a few balls that one should have been a touchdown. But and I want to ask you about this. I'm surprised that Illinois is this bad, because I expected them to be.
Yeah, their quarterback play's been pretty bad. I mean, he had that terrible turnover. That was scoop and score.
Mm-hmm.
He missed a wide open. The tight end was wide open for a touchdown. First drive of the game, and he threw about 10 yards over his head.
Yeah.
That would have been touchdown in the third quarter. Should have been caught, but at the same time, wasn't that great of a throw either.
No. I mean, he could have put it on them a little better.
Offensive line has been absolutely brutal this entire season. They were really good last year. They're missing their 1,600-yard rusher and Chase Brown. Of course, he's with the Bengals. But it's pretty disappointing in Illinois land. Defense hasn't been as good, obviously. Now, some of that has been the offense's futility. But you look at their schedule, I think maybe 6-6 is the ceiling now. You got to beat Northwestern Indiana at home. So there's 4 wins. Then you got to find 2. You got to win. This is a must-win week for Illinois at home against a real bad Nebraska team. And then you got to find 1 against Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland. So their schedule is pretty, for the most part, fairly easy. You don't get Michigan, Ohio State. You're done with Penn State. But they're going to have to scratch and claw to get to a bowl, which is a pretty good season by Illinois standards. But I know they had higher expectations than they have in years past.
Yeah, Purdue's got to do the same. I mean, I thought get to that 6-win mark, they need to be 3-2 at least at the end of September. And they're 2-3. They're going to have to get one somewhere where they're not expected. I mean, in October it looks brutal. It's only a 3-game month for them because they have their bye week, and that's at Iowa. That's
the one you need to get.
Yeah, but Iowa's so good at defense and special teams. They just find ways to win. Ohio State at home, that's not happening. And then at Nebraska, maybe, I don't know.
Got to get that one.
Then November at Michigan, that's not happening. But then their last 3, Minnesota at home, at Northwestern, Indiana at home. Those 3, you got a pretty good chance. So they're still not out of it. But, looking back, that even though I think Fresno's the best team they've played so far on their schedule, that one really hurts. That one really hurts because that one they probably should have had. Syracuse they could have had. Wisconsin, no. Yeah. Virginia Tech, of course, they won. But Purdue's defense was the best they've been. They were better in the second half against Virginia Tech, rushing-wise, I guess. But overall, I thought it was their best game they've played, turnover-wise. Getting to the quarterback, like you said, Illinois' offensive line was struggling. And Purdue made some adjustments. Kevin King, their defense coordinator, went up to the box for the first time all year, and Walters did the signals down the field. And they say the same thing with offensive coordinator Graham Harrell. He went up in the box for the first time all year, and the offensive staff member who was in the box went down to the field because they only have 2 guys in the box, which, I've never coached a football day in my life, but if I was a coach, I'd always want my offense coordinator up in the box. I just feel like you can see more up there.
Yeah.
But, it's it's whatever the coach wants to do, and I know we're going to talk NFL here soon, but I know Vic Fangio, defense coordinator for the Dolphins, he likes to be up in the box. He does not like to be on the field. He complained about that being the head coach of the Broncos all the time, to where at one time I thought we might see for the first time ever a head coach up in the box, which would have been really weird. But no, another interesting week around the Big Ten. I believe I won the Big Ten pick 'em because of the Cannon game.
Yeah, once again, there's been four of the 5 weeks this year I've missed one game, and it's been the Purdue one all 4 times. So yes, you did win pick 'em this week, but starting, I believe it's a Friday nighter.
Yes, it is.
Nebraska at Illinois.
Both teams 2-3. Both teams looking to get the momentum going a little bit. Illinois, as of tonight, is a 3.5-point favorite at home. I am taking the Illini because it is in Champaign, but I'm only taking them for 1 because I think this is a pretty toss-up game here.
Yeah, if Illinois wants to make a bowl, they have to have it. There's no excuses. The fan base is already jumping ship, which that's typical of Illinois football. They have a great year, and everyone jumps back on the bandwagon. Then they start off poorly, they jump off. But for some reason, I'm taking Nebraska for 2. I'll believe it when I see it with Illinois. They could easily be 0-4, really, if you look at it, or 0-5.
0-5.
Easily, because they got real lucky against Toledo and then fairly lucky against FAU. So Nebraska's been pretty bad too, but I don't know. I just think Nebraska gets it done. Maryland at Ohio State.
This is the Fox Big Noon game this week. I thought it might be the NBC game, but Fox gets first dibs. I've been reading all about the TV arrangements lately, so Fox gets first pick. After that, it's kind of murky who gets next say and what. But 5-0 Maryland, 5-0 number 4 Ohio State. Ohio State's a 20-point favorite. I think Ohio State wins but does not cover. I got Ohio State for 3.
I have Ohio State for 3 as well. I think they win but do not cover. Maryland can put up some points. Tua's brothers playing some good football. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a closer game than we expect.
They wish they were in the West. So they'd be winning the West pretty easily this year.
Oh, yeah. Rutgers at Wisconsin.
Yeah, 4-1 Rutgers, getting close to bowl eligibility already for Scarlet Knights at 3-1 Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 13.5-point favorite. I think playing at Camp Randall will just be too much. Give me Wisconsin for 4.
I have Wisconsin for 6. This is the best passing offense Wisconsin's had in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like maybe that game against Purdue last Friday, things maybe started to click a little bit.
They did lose one of their 2 running backs for the year.
Yes, they did.
But Braylon Allen is the better of the 2 anyways, but still, it's going to hurt him a little bit, I think.
Depth-wise, for sure.
Yep.
Howard at Northwestern.
2-2 Howard at 2-3 Northwestern. There was no line on my app yet, but I am taking Northwestern for 6 just because I assume Howard, being a 2-2 FCS team, I assume Northwestern could take care of them at home.
I have Northwestern for 4. Honestly, Northwestern's look better than I thought. They're still not very good. But, if they have an issue with Howard, which they could, who knows? But that'd be pretty bad. So, Purdue at Iowa.
2-3 Purdue at 4-1 Iowa. Iowa right now is a 2.5-point favorite, and I think the reason that's so low is starting quarterback Cade McNamara is out for the year. It is believed with a lower leg injury. Purdue has had good luck recently against Iowa, but that was with the previous staff, Jeff Brom's staff, especially at Kinnick. They won 2 of the last 3 meetings up there, 3 of the last 4 meetings overall against Iowa. But I'm taking the Hawkeyes for 2.
First team to 13 wins.
Don't do that to me.
I'm taking the Boilers for 1. I do not believe in Iowa's offense at all. And I don't think McNamara being out is probably that big of a deal because he's played some bad football.
He is more mobile than their backup.
He is. I watched a little bit of that Michigan State.
Their backup was transferring from Wisconsin to Fordham, and then Iowa talked him into coming to Iowa City instead. In programming note for Purdue fans, it's 2 weeks in a row, and it's going to be 3 weeks next week because it was announced today they play Ohio State at noon on the Peacock next week. So that's 3 weeks in a row, which is really annoying as a Purdue fan that Purdue's already been on it 3 times. But you better just buy it now or do the free trial. I would say free trial, but you better buy it because come basketball season, Big Ten teams, all teams are going to be on that as well. So you better just get it now. So.
Yeah, Iowa's offense is terrible.
Yeah.
Iowa's defense could score 2 touchdowns, though.
Or special teams.
Or
Or special teams. So, yep.
But yeah, give me the Boilers now.
I was going to win now because you're always wrong when you pick Purdue. So
maybe this will be the time I'm right. Who knows? Michigan at Minnesota.
Number 2, Michigan 5-0 at Minnesota, who's 3-2. This is the NBC night game. That's more because of Michigan, not Minnesota. Michigan's a 20.5-point favorite on the road, and I think they cover that.
I agree. I have Michigan for 5. You have Michigan for 5 as well? Is that what
Yes, I do. Sorry, I'm going to let my dog in real quick because he's whining and driving me nuts.
The Red River Rivalry, 11 a.m. Central Time on ABC. We have a really good number 12 Oklahoma team. Dylan Gabriel's having a fantastic year. He's thrown 15 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Against number 3 Texas.
This Red River shootout?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Already, October 7th, yeah.
Oh, man. Give me Texas. I think Texas is they're ranked in the top 5, but they're definitely a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah, ranked number 3. Oklahoma, after having a terrible year last year, has really bounced back.
Brent Venables and staff have done a good job.
Yeah. Man, that's always like a 49-42 type game.
Or it's a blowout.
Yeah,
it's either a really exciting game or a blowout.
Give me Texas, though. LSU is still ranked for some reason. Number 23, LSU at number 21, Missouri.
I think LSU gives Missouri their first loss.
I agree. I think LSU bounces back. Has Missouri really played anyone? They squeaked one out against Vandy.
They squeaked one out against Kansas State on a 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
But
number 13, Washington State at UCLA. UCLA is favored in this one.
Yeah, I'll take UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
Give me Washington State. Number 11, Alabama at number 0 because they're not ranked. Texas A&M.
Give me Alabama. Texas A&M backup quarterback's in for the rest of the year. Wegmans was announced last week he's out for the year. So
I'm glad you said that because I was prepared to take A&M. Give me Bama.
Johnny Manziel. Well, he probably is walking through that door because he's been going to all their games. So I shouldn't say that.
4-1 Syracuse at number 14 North Carolina.
Syracuse finally dropped one. Clemson beat them. That's right. Give me North Carolina. I like Drake May a lot.
You look at his numbers, and Drake May's kind of had a disappointing year. 5 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Might lose himself some money. Give me Carolina as well, though. Number 20 Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. Georgia's 14.
Give me Georgia between the hedges.
Yeah, give me Georgia. Number 10 Notre Dame at number 25 Louisville.
Don't even want to pick this game. Irish in a close one.
This will be the James Mann's Book It prediction of the week. Give me the Irish as well. I think they do not have a letdown before their game against USC and go in there in the top 10 at 6-1. Notre Dame is favored by 7 points, and I think they cover.
This is Jack Plummer's third crack at Notre Dame with his third different school.
J-Man's Booker brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watering for life, home, auto, business, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watering@infb.com. Last one here, number 24, Fresno State at 4-1 Wyoming.
Give me Fresno.
Give me Wyoming in the upset.
Cowboy up.
One of my favorites. Josh Allen's not walking through that door, though. Any other college football?
I'm sure I could, but we've only got about 12 minutes, and we got a lot of NFL and winners and losers to do, so we better get on that.
Winners and losers, you go first this week.
I go first. My first winners, sorry, Josh, Buffalo Bills.
Me too.
I think they are the best team in the AFC.
Mm-hmm. Best overall team for sure.
Yeah. The top three or four team in the league. They've found their groove. I mean, they lost that week 1 game, which was just pure motion by the Jets. Ever since then, they've hit their stride, and they look pretty unstoppable.
They heard all this talk from the national media about the Dolphins all week, rightfully so. And
sure.
Don't forget about us.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's defense got to play a little better going forward.
Yeah, they were miserably bad yesterday. I don't know how you fix it either.
You can't put your defense in a miserably bad category until they've given up 70 points.
48 is pretty bad. But
it is bad, but
it's not 7. 2 out of the last 3 games the Dolphins have played in Buffalo, they've given up at least 48. They gave up 55 or 56.
Not an easy place to play.
It's not, but that was disappointing. Detroit Lions going into Green Bay and smacking them.
They're for real.
We were both pretty confident the Lions were going to
saying
win that one, but they're for real. That offense is good. Defense makes some good plays.
Yep.
So.
Dallas Cowboys coming off a loss to Arizona, just thrashing the New England Patriots, which is kind of common for other teams to do. It's kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, that was the first loss Belichick's ever had by 35 points or more.
Yeah.
They have a quarterback issue there in New England. I've been saying it for 2 years now.
You have?
Agree with me, but it's becoming more and more evident. Houston Texans. They smacked the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think they were fortunate that C.J. Stroud was not taken number 1 overall. He has been, as you said with your trivia question, he has been fantastic so far, and the Steelers are pretty up and down. But to give up 30, or to only give up, or to score 30 points against that great Steelers defense, and the Steelers offense is pretty bad. Matt Canada. It's pretty bad.
Steelers offensive
coordinator. Pretty impressive there so far by Houston in a winnable division too.
Yeah. My last one, it's got to be my Denver Broncos. It might be one of the only times I can say it all year.
Not going 0-17.
They beat an awful Bears team, but it's just the way they did it. Down 28-7. They could have just quit and just things implode even worse, but they found a way to fight, claw, and come back in it. And I've been saying it for weeks. The offense is not the problem with this team. It's defense. And Russell Wilson had a pretty good game yesterday. So far in the season, 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And he's doing his part. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But maybe they can stack up a win with another win. They got the Jets at home this week. So we'll see what happens.
My last winner, it's between 2 teams. I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
They look good.
Deshaun didn't play for Cleveland, but the Ravens bounced back in a big way and are probably the team to beat with how bad the Bengals have.
Oh, my gosh.
North. Speaking of, I start the losers off, the Cincinnati Bengals. They look terrible against the Tennessee Titans. It's getting to the point where you got to think about sitting Burrow for a few weeks to let him heal.
He's got to hurt himself really bad.
Maybe they can go on a run towards the end of the year. He is the first quarterback in NFL history to have a 150 throw pass attempt stretch and average less than 5 yards per attempt. So he's obviously not healthy, and they're sitting here at, what are they, 1-3?
Yeah.
And they're pretty fortunate to win that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they want a chance at the playoffs, they got to set him for 3 weeks, and maybe he comes back and they go on this hot stretch and he's good. But they look bad right now.
My number 2, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Kenny Pickett got hurt. He's questionable for this weekend, but I had high hopes for him for Steeler fans this year, and he hasn't produced yet, at least. And they just look out of funk. This doesn't look like your normal Steelers team we're used to watching, and they better wake up soon. Too tough a division not to.
Yeah. New Orleans Saints are my second loser. Derek Carr did not play very well. They talk a lot of trash.
J-Man drops him on his fantasy team.
Derek, I don't know why I drafted him. I've never been a big Derek Carr guy.
I know you haven't. That's why I was surprised to see you had him.
I think it got down, man. I need a backup quarterback. And he's the only one that doesn't have a bye that has the same bye as my quarterback. But they talk a lot of trash, especially when it comes to Tampa Bay. And Tampa's won a couple straight against
3 in a row. They're 3-1. So,
yeah.
My last one, I could go with a team, but I feel like I'm just picking on this team, and maybe J-Man will go with this team. So I'm going to go with a group. The Las Vegas Raiders offensive line was awful. And Aiden O'Connell did not play very well yesterday. He fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them, and threw a badly timed interception. But when he did have a little more time than just a second to throw the ball, he did all right. Khalil Mack had 6 sacks by himself yesterday on that Raiders offensive line. So bad day for them.
Yeah, Brandon Staley about dang did it again, though.
He's never going to learn.
Second straight week, about the same exact spot on the field, too. And luckily it didn't cost them. But, my last loser, Indianapolis Colts.
All right, you didn't do it. I thought I could go with the Bears.
The Bears, I could put them in the winners category. They have the top 2 picks in the NFL draft. They can go Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. right now.
But that is so embarrassing.
That is embarrassing, and it's very clear that Eberflus they need to clean house again. Their coaching staff.
Pace wasn't all the problem.
Don't understand how or don't know how they get it to where they're not terrible. But no, the Colts, they came all the way back. They could have had a chance to go 3-1, and then they let Puka Nacua, who's off to maybe the greatest start a wide receivers had ever, score a touchdown late. So
Colts, it does sound like Jonathan Taylor's going to practice on Wednesday. So that division's open. Everybody's 2-2.
Yeah.
So
they could have been 3-1.
I think Colt fans are a lot more optimistic right now than they were at the start of the year. So.
As they should be.
Yep.
NFL Pick'em, I won this week again. I think I won back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, we're tied for the year now.
We're now tied. Bears, they're probably not going to fire Eberflus because they have a Thursday nighter. But if they lose this one in bad fashion, I bet he's gone. It's kind of a mini bye they get. But Bears at the Washington Commanders. Commanders, I could put them on the loser category as well. They needed to go for 2 late in Philadelphia.
I'm still surprised they were able to force overtime against Philly after getting killed by Buffalo the week before. I'm taking the Commanders for 10. This Bears team's just not good.
I have the Commanders for 12. Jacksonville Jaguars against the Buffalo Bills in London.
I usually like the Jaguars in London, but the Bills are too good. Bills for 11.
I have the Bills for 13. Houston at Atlanta.
Interesting game here. I like the way Texans are going, but I like Atlanta at home. Atlanta for 6. If Atlanta gets themselves a quarterback in the offseason, watch out.
They should have traded for Lamar Jackson.
They should have.
Desmond Ritter's terrible. Give me Houston for 1. Carolina Panthers at the Detroit Lions.
I got the Lions for 14.
I have the Lions for 11. Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
This was a hard one for me, but I'm going Titans for 2.
I have the Titans for 7. Giants at the Miami Dolphins.
I have the Dolphins for 12.
It was a humbling game for all of us involved yesterday. And Tua even said that after the game. I think Dolphins bounced back in a huge way. Dolphins for 14. They're 9.5-point favorites, and Giants haven't even played tonight.
That's true.
So Vegas
Giants are pretty banged up too.
They are. No Saquon Barkley, which will help.
I think a few offensive linemen out. I think too.
People aren't talking about it, but Miami's turned into one of the toughest places to play in football. Dolphins have won 15 of their last 17 games at home. So people
I had no idea.
Yeah. New Orleans Saints at the New England Patriots.
I was just talking trash about the Patriots earlier, but I think they bounce back at home. Patriots for 3.
I have the Patriots for 6. I don't believe in the Saints at all. Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I got the Ravens for 13.
I have the Ravens for 10. Philadelphia Eagles at the LA Rams. Eagles are 4-0. They've been pretty they haven't looked that great doing it, but they are 4-0.
I got Eagles for 7.
I have the Eagles for 9. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Arizona Cardinals.
Bengals have got to win this one. If not, they're in big trouble. Cardinals are better than I thought they would be this year, though. Cincinnati Bengals for 5.
I have Bengals for 3. New York Jets at the Denver Broncos.
I got the Broncos for 4.
Zach Wilson is the first quarterback in Patrick Mahomes' career in 127 starts, including college, to throw for more yards, throw for more touchdowns, and have more completions than Patrick Mahomes.
He played well last night. He did.
Still lost. Give me Denver for 2, although that's as much of a coin flip as you can get.
It's Hackett against Peyton this week.
Yeah, maybe Hackett will get some revenge. Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings.
Chiefs for 9.
Chiefs for 8. Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers.
49ers for 8.
I have the Niners for 5. Green Bay Packers at the Vegas Raiders.
I'm not sure. I'm guessing Jimmy G's going to be back this week, but I haven't seen anything today. I was not impressed by either of these teams. I'm taking the Raiders just because it's in Vegas for 1 point.
I have the Raiders for 4. Bye teams this week, we have the Cleveland Browns, the LA Chargers, Seattle Sea Chickens, as you like to call them, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Got to remember that for my fantasy team.
Oh, boy, Mike Evans is out for me. That's not good.
No, and that's not good for Baker in Tampa either because he's just a horse. He's a touchdown machine. Yeah. All right, J-Man, your birdie or bogey question. Texans rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud has 1,212 passing yards. That makes him second for the first 4 career games in NFL history. Who's he behind?
Is it Andrew Luck?
You, my friend,
Don't do this.
are getting a bogey. He just passed Luck yesterday for second all time. Luck had 1,208. It's former MVP Cam Newton.
I wouldn't even thought about it.
1,386.
That was a really good question. Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. We'll be back at her next Monday with another episode. Have a fantastic week, everybody.